this was the week where Joe Biden, our president, was in the Middle East, and he took a trip to Israel first and then popped on over to Saudi Arabia, which apparently isn't a thing that is done. And so the fact that he did it was like, hey, that's amazing. You know, you just usually there's like the war criminal, like direct the hopper flights between war crime countries
The
are
puddle
very
jumper.
expensive. The puddle jumpers, exactly. So he did that. What did he do while he was there? He did things like reaffirm Trump's agenda in the Middle East by reaffirming what is called the Abraham Accords, which essentially is an agreement between Israel, Bahrain, the UAE to normalize relations, throwing Palestinians under the bus, throwing the Iran deal under the bus. If you guys remember, that sort of crown jewel of the Obama administration that Biden has not yet picked back up and Trump tried to destroy. He didn't promise to move the embassy back to Tel Aviv, where it once was. Instead, you know, it's in Jerusalem, which is contested and not a good look. He said he also did not mention anything about the recent murder of Palestinian American journalist Shireen Abu-Akleh, even though Palestinians were asking him to. So they urged him to the U.S. to do more to hold Israel accountable for the killing of Palestinian American journalist Shireen Abu-Akleh in May, which the U.S. State Department said last week likely resulted from gunfire from the Israeli Defense Forces positions during an IDF-led raid in the West Bank. The State Department caveated their conclusions, however, by saying that a forensic analysis, quote, could not reach a definitive conclusion regarding the origin of the bullet that killed Abu-Akleh. Like like who made that bullet? Like, can we like trace it back? Like, where was that bullet born? Like, where was it raised? You know, who like cultivated it?
Was there a second shooter on a grassy knoll?
Yes, exactly. Who we will never know.
Right.
So this is all bad news, obviously, if you believe in actual peace in the Middle East. But Biden, let's remember, has been around the block when it comes to Israel. He has been around for a very long time. His first visit to Israel was in, I think, 1973. Here he is talking about that visit and subsequent visits and then saying something that, man, we have not heard an American president say, I don't know, maybe ever.
I had the privilege of spending time with Prime Minister Golda Meir. I'll never forget, I was sitting next to a gentleman on my right when there were aides. His name was Rabin. I look back on it all now, and I realize that I had the great honor of living part of the great history of this great, and I did say, and I say again, you need not be a Jew to be a Zionist.
You need not be a Jew to be a Zionist.
My favorite part is when he mentions Rabin and then the camera cuts to the two other guys, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we killed that guy. he tried to make a peace deal, so we smote his ass."
Exactly. And like, you need not be a Jew to be a Zionist. I mean, this is like what the far right says, right? That's ultimately, they don't really like talk about Zionism that openly. But definitely when it comes to the idea that, the middle, Israel, Palestine needs to just belong to the Israelis. Yay, occupation. Holy sites only in control of Israelis. And get all the Jews back there. Then Jesus comes and saves like a quarter of them. And then the rest of them die. I'm a Zionist. Yay! Like, that's...
It's wild to me to live in this moment in history when like there's like these, you know, the Democratic majority for Israel, and there are these like pro-Israel lobbying groups that are dumping money into Democratic primary campaigns. You know, like that Zionists have decided to like form a coalition with Nazis in order to stop progressives.
Yep.
How's that going to work out? Fucking other Jews who are not me.
But that, and that's that, like, I mean, again, the very first president to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory was Benjamin Netanyahu. Also the same day, I believe in Pennsylvania. I'm not remembering correctly, but a Jewish cemetery was vandalized, headstones toppled in celebration of Donald Trump becoming president. So yeah, no, anti-Semitism and pro-occupation Zionist policies are very much in alignment, sadly. And none of this means you want Israel to be pushed into the sea, but it does mean we want to end the occupation. And that all, like, even now, he's repeating the same line. He's like, I said it then, I'm still going to say it now. We're all Zionists here. And like, nothing about the amount of violence that is waged on Palestinians. I think they're talking about expanding 4G in the occupied territories, which I'm like, cool. That's
So
really what they need. How about
better streaming?
Better streaming, better to live stream your own occupation and ethnic cleansing with.
They're gonna expand 4G, but they're only gonna be able to use Canopy.
So all of this obviously is like, he's moving even away from the Obama legacy, and he's moving far closer to the Trump legacy in the Middle East, the Jared Kushner legacy, which is basically just make a bunch of backdoor deals with Middle Eastern countries, get rich, and call it peace. Name a settlement after Donald Trump, because that also happened under his watch, or when he was president. And it has a lot to do with what's going on in Saudi Arabia and the normalization of relationships as well, and relations. Saudi Arabia and Israel don't have formal relations, but they got a lot of informal ones. They are very much sort of backdoor frenemies. And they are in agreement that Iran must never be welcomed into the international community. Palestinians, they're a sacrificial lamb. And anyway, hunky-dory, move on, strong arm the United States when it comes to oil prices, weapons, continue a war on Yemen, which, by the way, Biden said nothing about either, despite Congress people, including people like Senator Rand Paul, working with Bernie Sanders to try and get a bill passed to the Senate. December of the 2021 didn't pass, but like, there is bipartisanship. It did, a similar piece of legislation did pass in the House, saying no more weapon sales to Saudi Arabia. Again, the weapon sales have only continued under Biden. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.